The fact that they've banned it on blue and red side just tells me EDG, maybe Fire Lolly, just does not play Kindred. Don't want to take it into mid and AD carry and all the other crazy places that we've seen Kindred do weird stuff. So just get it off the board. Certainly very strong at this point.
Yeah, so we're going to ban away some pretty typical stuff here. I do like the Tahm Kench ban though from RNG. Going to keep that one out of Korra's hands this time around. Of course, Mako could play it as well, but Korra did do quite a lot of work on the champion.
Yeah, he certainly did. You know, he nearly won a 2v1 bottom lane, and it was equalized by a true shot barrage. So that's just how strong Tahm Kench is on the current patch, and certainly agree that right now, you don't want someone in the mid game that you can't kill. The pace of the game just doesn't allow it, and Tahm Kench does become just this brick that is very hard to tear through.
And there's Alistar first pick again, so it seems like Mata going to get the champion he wants. The Rise was the last ban from EDG, though. Pawn maybe remembering some of his bad times over in Worlds.
Oh,
but
goodness.
Interesting with Athena off the Rift here. That Rise does get banned away. Still a fairly strong champion, though, as Mundo is notably open. You can see EDG are at least considering it here.
Yeah, and Fire Lolly flashed the devastating pick himself. It's the Mundo Soraka, where Mundo just kind of runs around the jungle. Soraka heals him up in the late game, and you have this unkillable lineup. In fact, one really fun team comp that I've been seeing run a little bit is the Mundo top lane and the Zac jungle with a Soraka. Because all of a sudden you have two brick walls that have a lot of continual CC, the slow from the long arms and the cleaver, as well as the knockups out of Zac. But Trundle, kind of a similar thing. So much chase that will come out of these two hugely beefy champions. And EDG looking to go towards more that tanky lineup this time around.
I mean, they had two good tanks to start things off here, but going to go very tanky with the Mundo there as well. Trundle, of course, probably Mako's champion, but a little bit of flexibility available there as well. So I do like where they've started. Graves insta-locked, I believe, by MLXG. And there's Lissandra, was banned last game. Xiaohu going to pick that one up, you have to think.
Yeah, Xiaohu probably will pick it up, especially if Pawn goes towards an assassin, but also has a flexibility. Loop has played it in the past. And right now, it looks like a much more skirmish-heavy comp coming out of RNG, and just all-out late-game team fighting, really, for EDG.
I mean, Elise is already there, so that is going to be the jungler for Fire Lolly, which likely means Mundo top Trundle support. And Def flashing Twitch. I don't know if he wants to play it, but he's Corky. Very legendary from last year. We'll see if they do pick up an AD carry, and if so, where they want to put it. They are going to get the benefit of a counter pick here in this game. So we'll see what lane they want to look forward, especially thinking that Lissandra could be a flex, and it is going to be Corky.
So Corky also was shown mid lane.
Yes.
Last night in the LCK. I believe Pawn pulled that out in game 1.
Pawn, that's impressive.
Sorry, Faker in game 1 versus CJ. It's something that I know a couple of casters have been talking about a lot lately, and Papa Smithy and Rusty. They like the Corky mid lane.
Certainly do.
A lot of mobility, good poke that can come out. So we'll see whether that is something that Pawn wants to pick up. I remember when they ran a double AD comp last year. It was Ezreal, Corky, and Ezreal was the mid pick at the time, and Pawn still took Corky into the mid lane to give death Ezreal, so might be something similar coming out this time around.
Certainly could. Probably where Pawn was late, though. Busy playing Corky over in the LCK. As Kalista and Poppy are actually the last picks up for RNG. So again, continuing the theme of new champions here, Poppy going to see her first play in the LPL.
Yeah, and I wonder where Poppy's going to go. Most likely into the top lane if the champion select holds true, although Graves can go a awful lot of different places. We've already seen Lupa do work on one AD carry tonight.
Certainly have, so we'll see if he wants to take one here, but I have to think that jungle pick, actually I guess it could be Poppy as well, so plenty of flex picks here for Royals EDG considering their last pick. It does seem like Deft is going to be the one with the Corky, so we'll see what last pick they want here, presumably from mid lane. Already flashed Ari, so an obvious mid lane pick there for Pawn. And again, Pawn's someone that pretty much always plays whatever he wants to play.
Yeah, he certainly does. He kind of waits for the counter pick and then just locks in a random champion. It's kind of amusing to watch. And you can see right now, hovering that Ezreal. Would not be surprised if it was a mid lane Corky and Def went back towards his Ezreal, because he honestly had a pretty good game.
Certainly did here, and Ezreal does seem to be the champion they want. He's going to get picked up here by EDG. The only question is where it's going, and like you said, I think you just have to give it over to Deft. Even if Pawn really wants to play it, I think he'll cede it to his teammate.
Yeah, I certainly expect that to be the case. You see them having a chat right now, although it looks like... No, they're swapping it.
We've been betrayed. Okay.
So that's honestly a pretty strong lineup once again from EDG. Similar theory, you know, you got Disengage in Elise, Trundle, and the top lane Mundo, and then you got two good kiting AD carries that can poke. The better thing about this comp is both of them have the gap closer, so both of them can get out, kite away, and be able to deal with it. Deal with the engage from Xiaohu, from Mata, much better this time around. MLXG this time has picked up the Graves. We saw Fire Lolly not have such a strong performance last time around. In fact, it was god-awful. So we'll see whether he's able to do something better with it and really show the power of this champion, because he comes out of the jungle full health every single time he clears. So he should be able to impact the map in a good way.
Yeah, and again, MLXG is this type of player. Young solo queue player, risen up into the LPL, had a good first year, quite aggressive. If someone's going to be on the new hotness like Jungle Graves, it is going to be a player like MLXG. So once again, very exciting team comps on both sides. EDG, I think a pretty similar look at the comp they played last game, but with some smart changes, at least especially as a nice adaptation from the jungle pick. But RNG, actually something completely different. Lupa was on an AD carry last time. This time he's on Poppy.
Yeah, and I honestly think the Poppy is really good in the current meta. You know, great disengage from the ultimate, fantastic burst damage, and his pawn that picked up the Ezreal. Corki always saw a little bit of play against Kalista, you know, the Gatling gun as well with the Thunderlords is really strong burst, so we'll see whether they're able to make it work in the bottom lane. Def can certainly play them both.
And welcome to the Rift for game number 2 as RNG are 1-up against Edward Gaming. Again, new season, new LPL, fun new champions here. We've got Poppy entering the Rift this time around. Pawn has come in for the lineup on EDG as well. And MLXG is going to take the Graves that Philo played in the last game. So pretty aggressive here, going to move in for some early vision. And we'll see if Philo can have a different game. Different champion can have to play a little less reckless, you have to think, out of position.
Yeah, this time around, however, you feel like RNG have a little bit of a timer on their victory just because of how tanky Koro is going to get, as well as Mako. And there's not really anyone to burst through these tanks. Whoosh, of course, will have a fantastic mid-game on Kalista. Kalista gets a little bit more crit now because of Hurricane, can optimize, itemize towards that Infinity Edge. So we'll see whether that is something that Whoosh does want to pick up, but certainly isn't the late-game power that is a Mundo.
Yeah, Mata, he's going to get chased out here as well. Lots of early vision being put down here, but fairly neutral just across the river here as both teams just setting up early. But Red Buff Star is going to be here for MLXG as well. And nothing too unusual here in the early starting items, but seems like a nice ward there from Mata, I believe. He's going to spot out Fire Lolly's starting location as well.
Yeah, so that was actually MLXG that just outright strolled into the jungle and just placed one down. You can see that now they'll know that they've been spotted where they started. Fire Lolly had already figured that one out, and red buff starts for both junglers means that we might have, once again, some level 2 strategies around this mid lane.
Maybe Fire Lolly could look for more ganks as well. We did see an aggressive gank, like you mentioned, from MLXG, attempted in mid against Athena. Pawn here now with Cleanse Ezreal. Going to be pretty hard to kill, but it's Lissandra Ezreal here. Pretty different matchup as MLXG going to cruise into the jungle.
Different level 2 strat here for MLXG. You know, mid lane gank didn't work out last time. You can see that Pawn was shoving in this time around, so just goes over to the jungle.
They did see him though, but Marta now moving over to Mako.
He's only level 1 though, Marta.
Pawn's also collapsing. They've moved him out. The pillar's down. Pawn is level 2. Can come in over the wall if he wants to. Lands the Q. Dragon's up. MLXG can quick draw his way out.
Yeah, and that's actually the one slap from Dragon. Pretty significant damage there. Means that in the end, Fire Lolly comes out ahead. We'll be able to pick up his blue buff. So good synergy and communication coming out of the EDG lineup.
Nice early ward as well as MLXG going to cut these camps away. You can see just how easily Graves can clear these out. He's going to work on that Raptor there. Level 3 now for Xiaohu in the mid lane. Been a while since we've seen these two champions in this particular lane, but no stranger certainly is Lupa. Up in the top lane there, up against Koro. Poppy versus Mundo. Quite a matchup here, especially because Poppy's been changed quite a bit.
Yeah, she certainly has. Has some good burst damage with that combo still, the tackle and the Q. As Mata looking to pressure Fire Lolly.
And Fire Lolly does not have his smite, so going to have to be quite careful here.
You can see Fire Lolly wants nothing to do with the RNG lineup.
No, not at all. He's going to move back though. Crab will be here, so it does claim it. It's very crucial gold especially. But MLXG is just flying through the jungle. A little low on mana, but Blue Buff will fix that right up here. And like you mentioned, just takes no damage.
Yeah, so the good thing about Graves, he continually kites, takes absolutely no damage. And that just means these ganks are really scary, because when you come out of the jungle full health, that's always was Elisa's thing as well. Spiderlings tank up all the damage, you're just able to get much more work done.
Yeah, warded actually in the bottom side as well. Fire Lolly trying to get an early bottom lane gank down, but sitting on top of a ward, or just went past one, excuse me. So no dice here. Sentinel's going to come out as well. Fire Lolly is going to get spotted. We'll get gold for his trouble, but EDG a little too ambitious there on that first gank. As Corky Trundle looking to maybe bully out early. Deft is out to a quick CS lead here.
Yeah, that was a lot of respect given to Firelolly this time around. He was sitting behind that ward and they just backed away completely, didn't want to give up anything. So that means that a CS advantage will be accrued, but not really that much else happening around the map. Elise, of course, very scary in the early game, so completely understand why RNG just want to take this one a little bit slower.
Have to wonder where the build's going for Firelolly as well, but we'll find out later on. Can't imagine we'll go quite as much damage as he did on the Graves. So you can see lots of Koro stands there. EDG fans hanging out. Probably not too happy that they lost game 1, but as always, out in force.
Yeah, very happy to see Pawn back in the lineup, I am sure. And you can see that right now in the mid lane, he's continually pushing in. This is the thing about Ezreal, firing Qs at the lane, quite cheap on mana and gives you a fairly good shove. And it stacks the wave nicely, which means it's harder to CS if you are Xiaohu.
Yeah. Struggling a bit here as well, but pretty even after that wave comes in. So looking good so far as the mid laners are just going to farm it back to back. Firelolly over a ward again here. So the early vision in the bottom half has been stellar so far for RNG. With Mato, you have to think in the lineup now as well. Not too much going on. Tracker's Knives again here as we're going to have a mid lane gank, but Xiaohu just going to walk that one off here.
Firelolly has walked over the same ward 3 times. He honestly must know exactly where it is now because he just keeps doing it. There's no jungle camps on that side of the map. He's level 3 to the level 5 of MLXG and probably 4 camps behind. Once again, this is just not great jungling coming out of EDG.
Yeah, a little too aggressive there for Firelolly as far as that ganks goes. Overcommits to the lanes, can't get a kill. And Graves, who, like you said, will fly through that jungle, quickly approaching level 6 as well. So we'll see if Firelolly can start to play catch-up. He will have to power farm through those camps. But RNG even have a ward on those Raptors. So
but they're not going to let him. Like, there's just nothing he can take away right now. Xiaohu's going to shove the lane into Pawn, who without the ultimate doesn't have wave clear. Graves just goes in, evades. Mid lane will always get there first. There's nothing Firelolly can do. He's level 4.
Even a nice forward ward as well to get vision on that lane. Firelolly going to sneak in again, but there's no camps for him to take on that side. In fact, MLXG is now counter-jungling him as Koro is going to spot that. Might be able to get it, does get the big Krug, but MLXG is going to get himself to safety.
Yeah, but the message is already sent, you know. 12 CS, that's 5 jungle camps at this point of the game because Gromps have been taken in favor of the Graves. And MLXG is honestly just jungling circles around Firelolly at this point of the game, who hasn't been able to get any ganks to work and just has roamed like aimlessly around mid lane for a while.
Yep, certainly struggling early on here as he's going to return back to bottom lane. Does sweep it out, knows that there isn't any vision there, but lane not in the best place. Sentinel's going to get spotted, does get taken out. Little spot Mako there, so pretty obvious stuff. Stun goes wide there as well. And RNG going to be comfortable in this bottom lane. We've got the Rico bow up for Wish already, so working in for that quick Hurricanes, you have to think.
Actually, he has a longsword as well, so most likely going for the old build with a Blade of the Ruined King. Still going for the EMAX, so not much changing on Kalista right now. And MLXG has just not had any of his camps taken away right now. He's regained control of that side of the jungle. There's nothing top lane. Is Koro looking aggressive on Lupa?
Koro might actually be able to get this kill. Pops the ulti. Good ultimate up from Poppy. Gonna disengage. That ulti's great.
Yeah, Koro actually probably could have flashed it there, I'm going to say, and got on the other side. It wouldn't have hit him, and it would have made Lupa burn the flash. Also, being behind Poppy is really good, but he will just go again.
Oh, does pop the W there for a bit of extra move speed. Koro, though, needs to line up this cleavers. Port's in as well. But Koro does have his flash. It's Lissandra that's coming. Koro going to maybe commit here. Good flash, but he gets ultied still by Xiaohu. Going to move in for the snare. Koro wants it, but he's not going to get it. Great flash from Lupa. And the stun will miss. Xiaohu still not alive. The Spiderling gets first blood, and Koro lives. Now the flash in. MLXG takes out Ezreal, and Lupa lives as well.
And it turns out you can do absolutely nothing, and Spiderlings will still get you kills on Elise. Now needs to be careful that MLXG doesn't clean him up, because you can see there's a 2-level gap still between MLXG and Firelolly.
And he's just going to keep taking camps. Does get the big Krug as well. Quick draws over the wall to safety. And MLXG, we talk about him being an aggressive jungler. We saw it on the early ganks for Lee Sin. Let's see this. Poor Pawn just gets absolutely munched.
Yeah, he certainly does. And, you know, MLXG coming over the wall. He's just so strong at this point in the game, because all he's done is power farmed. Back to live as Marta and Mako tangoing a bit.
Could be trouble there. A couple spears into Mako. Does see a bit of poke happen, but Deft going to stay nice and strong on the Corki. Got his quick Sheen as well, so of course that Trinity Force will be coming in a relatively quick succession. We did see a lot of Corki from Deft early last year in particular. He's not too bad at the champion.
Yeah, no, he certainly is not. You know, Corki, Jinx, probably the 2 best champions that Deft was playing last year. As Xiaohu will pick up his first blue buff of the game, and Koro surviving that gank is very important for the pace of EDG's game, as Pawn looking to snipe away a blue, didn't quite manage it.
Not going to get his own blue now, though, so we'll be just fine.
All Firelolly needs to do is steal that, and, you know.
Right back in the experience gap. Probably not good news there. Pawn will collect it for himself instead, as Mako and Deft going to take out this pink quad in the tri-brush. As you can see, very different bottom lane. Not nearly as much attention as the last game. Deft and Mako doing what they did pretty much all season long last year. And that's performed nicely in the bottom lane. Although Woosh and Mata keeping it very even early on.
Yeah, they certainly are. As MLXG will spot out a deep ward. I think that was just placed by Firelolly as well. So really not going to be his game this time around. Still 2 levels. 27 CS behind. When you only have 25, that's a very big number. And another tier build coming out in the mid lane means the ramp-up time will still be there for EDG.
And that was sort of the other thing I wanted to mention, is that we talk about MLXG being an aggressive player, and we saw it with his Lee Sin in the last game, very aggressive on the ganks. Graves is a champion, and this is sort of his other thing, is that if he couldn't kill you, or kill your laners, he would just go counter jungle you. And he's done that with the champion that's much more appropriate for that style of play this game.
Yeah, and that was actually one thing we were worried about as Looper once again.
Koro's doing quite nicely in this lane, but Looper, he's going to just pop his W and be safe for now. Does need to get a bit tankier, but Koro getting the early bully on in this lane. In fact, Mako is all the way towards top side as well. So we might even have a lane swap. I see. No, that's MLXG. He's the jungler, not the AD carry. Thank you, Graves.
Maybe just going in for a gank as Firelolly doesn't check the brush as well. That was also a brush that Mako had walked over. So 2 members of EDG. A little bit lazy pathing there. Means that no danger in this mid lane whatsoever.
Yeah, you can see they're just grouping. Might try and take it out as the Rift Herald, first one of the night, I believe, is going to get taken over. I imagine this will go to Koro. And he'll start really bullying the top side there as well, as he does pick it up.
Yeah, so Harold finally gets to see some play in early grouping this time. This is what we expected to see out of double AD carries in the mid lane. Just group up, take their stuff.
Can see the Thunderlord's damager, has to get himself out. Koro going in back on a Looper, pops his ulti a little late. There's the ulti up for the quick knockup. Koro going to get taken out potentially. No, doesn't quite have enough damage for the kill, but Koro will disengage.
So one thing I will say about New Poppy is her damage is so telegraphed. You know exactly when it's coming. Koro still needs to be careful though. Will get the empowered recall. But so Koro just wrote it out there. He understood that, you know, the knockup was going to come in. He probably could survive another Q. Then he'll slowly go back. Meanwhile, EDG made a power play in the mid lane. They just grouped up, shoved Xiaohu out of lane, and got half of its health.
Yeah, we expect to see that from Def when he has the Trinity Force, but he's just got components right now, though. Principle of the play still there. Able to give Pawn a bit more of a lead and chunk out that tower. Not dead just yet, though. But it did lose a significant chunk of its health. So EDG, I think with the champions they've got especially, playing a much faster paced game this time around.
Yeah, they certainly are. And, you know, you see Pawn poking with that W. The reason it's so important now is to set up that Thunderlord's proc. Make sure that at any point you're able to all in and start landing those flurry of combos. So Xiaohu very much respecting that in the mid laner, has started to cede a little bit of a CS advantage. And this time around, EDG, it's much more their style of the game. Slow pace, get towards your items, make sure that you can group at the right stage of the game. And RNG, maybe their jungler is still ahead, but they need to start pushing the tempo.
I mean, MLXG is still looking good, but haven't quite converted that into anything just yet. Koro getting stronger, is bullying a little bit in the top lane, but Looper keeping it fairly close as Pawn just going to pop an ulti down to the top lane. 3-man gank now as Koro doesn't have his ulti. Popped it already. Will die to Xiaohu. Ulti up from MLXG, but EDG will respond with Dragon.
Yeah, so across the map, they take another objective, but Dragon, not a gold objective, doesn't impact the tempo of the game right now because 5 is just very unrealistic. MLXG will take a red buff, maybe even get some pressure on this turret. So you have to say, net gain definitely in favor of RNG.
Yeah, 3 people top. Seems like too many, but they take out Koro and get more off it as well. So a nice little play there from RNG, sort of bringing the game back after EDG's own power play earlier on in the mid lane, but we'll see how things develop. Can Looper get the tower in the top lane? That's going to be the question here. He'll certainly do a lot of work here. Koro does not use his teleport, so might just have to give it up here.
Yeah, you don't want to use your teleport against Looper, especially when you have Marta down in the bottom lane with the vision control. So instead, they're just looking to give away most of the health in that top lane turret. And potentially Trinity Force going to be picked up as a first major item for Looper.
Yeah, it does have a Balmy Cinder as well, so it has a mixture of items here. Lots of cost-efficient stuff. Koro returns.
He's going to be able the makings of a Spectre's cow. Just like
he's got it all.
The components. Eventually I will finish an item. Will not be today.
Deft actually has early sock shoes as well, so very aggressive with his first few items. Not quite going for that Trinity Force, but going straight to Tier 2 boots. And we've got the Gauntlet finished up for Pawn as well, so it's also going for Blue Ezreal. once again, we saw it in the last game with Deft and Athena. Could be seeing a very similar 2-carry threat here between Deft and Pawn.
Yeah, definitely think that is going to be the case. And you see that because of the Corki, because of the Mundo and the Elise on the map, very smart for MLXG to go towards that Hex Drinker. And Firelolly wants to be aggressive here.
It's a decent time to fight, actually, for EDG. We saw how much work Deft did with just his one item last game. Pawn has the same item here, and red buff is there. But just going to get some wards down here and look again for this mid turret. Xiaohu really can't stay here without help, although his teammates are coming to save him.
Yeah, this time around they finally come. Good thing about the wave clear of Xiaohu, you have to respect it and back away, because it is that claw and can bring him into range to lock up one of those important carries. Koro still just trolling around this top lane, throwing ukuleles at people. Maybe he's a banjo. I don't know with that skin.
Good check there from Pawn on the blue, but is going to go back to Xiaohu. Pawn not going to get the free blue, going to have to take his own instead, but is of course aware of that timer. So smart usage there of the ulti. Xiaohu though teleporting.
Top lane.
He's going to look for Koro. Koro is deep in the enemy territory now. Does have his flash. Forced to pop the ulti. Ukulele in.
3 members again.
Good snare there as well, but he is going to need to flash. Is already there, ulted up. Good ward there from RNG, and Koro is going to live for a while, but not too long as MLXG takes him out.
But this time, what do they give away? Because they're not going for a dragon. They want the power play on the mid and bottom lane turrets. Top lane will fall down for RNG, but what can EDG take in response?
Well, they're looking to get dirty down here in the bottom lane, but Firelolly doesn't quite line up the dive. Pawn does get the tower in mid lane. So sort of splitting the map into 2 halves here, and 3v2 down the bottom side. RNG forced to give up the bottom outer.
So second time, definitely not worth it for RNG. Another kill goes over to the Graves. But in the end, it's only going to be 1 turret for 2. Very well played in the end for EDG. They were able to pull the trigger.
Uh-oh, Pawn in trouble. Good Fulverize in there. The cleanse is good. Pawn, sorry, trying to get his way out. But he is exhausted. That's a lot of people, and Whoosh is going to get the kill. Port cancelled by Koro as well.
Yeah, and not really all of that much expended. Teleport for Looper really was probably overkill, but it was only Mata that used double summoner spells, and all of a sudden the siege starts in mid lane. That's a misstep from Pawn, honestly, to be up that far.
Great rotation there from RNG. He's going to get themselves the mid lane turret. Looper's going to come in as well just to make sure it's all 5 now in the mid lane, and Whoosh will collect the gold as well.
So in the end, they swing it straight back into their favor. Pawn overextends, get caught. 0-2-0. Not the start I imagine he was hoping for the LPL split.
Don't think so, as Deft does ride the package down the mid lane. Trinity Force completed. This is when EDG typically like to start fighting with their Corki. They've got the items, but haven't quite been sitting in the right spots just yet. Are starting to hammer down mid lane, though.
Yeah, they certainly are, but let's take another look at what was happening with Pawn. He goes down towards Mata there instead of just running straight back up because he knew where the Graves was. In the end, burns a lot to try and get out. Whoosh also flashed over actually in the end, so a little bit more used by RNG, but I guess they still got the advantage they were looking for.
Yeah, Rift Herald is going to get taken again. Koro
loves Harold.
He's going to get both for that Baron will spawn, so he can do a lot of work actually heading bottom lane now. With that completed Sunfire Cape and item number 2, probably Spirit Visage on the way relatively swiftly. He's pretty large. I mean, Looper's farming up as well, but we talked about Super Tank Mundo being a big threat in that late game. Koro is on the way at this point, 17 minutes in.
Yeah, he certainly is. You know, he's died twice, but had a lot of attention in his lane. You have to say that he's probably performed pretty well for his team so far. As Pawn looking for Xiaohu.
Just going to trade some ward blows here. Pawn, ooh, he's going to miss it. Maker going to come in, provide a bit of extra vision and finish that off for him. Mid lane turrets are down, so Landers are going to have to be a bit more careful. They do want it. Mata goes in. Xiaohu claws his way in as well, but Pillar's going to stop them. And that's a pretty big commit there from RNG.
Yeah, it certainly was. And once again, uncharacteristic misses of poke there from Pawn. Just like we were seeing out of Deft last game means that they're not really able to return with any aggression of their own. Whoosh continuing to farm up in this top lane. And RNG can just roll into their mid game. Once again, they have the gold advantage.
It does feel
Still, MLXG is bullying Firelolly around Summoner's Rift, and there's not really much they can do.
No, I mean, it's only 1,000 gold up for RNG, but they're up in kills. Equal on towers right now. Plenty of maneuverability here for RNG, but it does feel like we've split the map a bit. 18.5 minutes in. Dragon is going to be back up in 15. Baron will be back up soon. And Koro's just trying to get work done here in the bottom side, and this top side of the map is completely owned by Royal.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, they're just looking to continually pressure down turrets. EDG missed a trick when Pawn got caught out because that's when they should have been grouping with this Iceborne Gauntlet and Trinity Force combo. So instead, they have to continue to wait for maybe the next blue buff to become available before Pawn can start poking people off turrets.
Yeah, you can see movement towards the top there. Do have Deft and Mako looking to take out that outer, but MLXG is going to get on top of the Dragon. Usually the first one's pretty good. Cora's around the area, but that will go over to MLXG. Marta comes in just to make sure it's safe, but they might try for the trade. Deft almost gets smacked into the wall. The Looper, big burst damage early on, and Deft doesn't have help right now. Ulti up from Looper as well. Now Deft can't get out at all, and Fire Lolly gets denied there by the W. Coro in late, as Looper is going to take some damage. Might just go down here, but Poppy will flash away. Follow there from the rappel. Looper with a good stun. He's staying alive for so long as Coro finally gets the kill.
And he nearly got Fire Lolly. Meanwhile, mid lane, they're pushing down another turret. This just isn't good enough play out of EDG. They're being comprehensively beaten around the map. And really no response.
No, not at all. In fact, the rest of RNG are here in mid lane just to make sure everyone's okay. Coro is going to try and chase in. Does miss with the ukulele.
And once again, they chase in middle lane after all that damage has been done. Meanwhile, Zhao, who bottom lane, sorry, it was Whoosh, going to be able to take out another turret. And EDG just look like they don't know what's going on.
It's just a bit sloppy, as we are going to see a replay. Looper played this very well.
Yeah, he certainly did. So Def doesn't use the Valk to get away because he recognizes the fact that Looper's W is available. You see it there. Fire Lolly comes in spider form, almost like he didn't read the patch notes. Probably should have thrown out the cocoon in human form first, and then nearly falls down to Looper's burst damage again.
Well, does live there barely on the back end of that queue. But Whoosh getting stronger also. You saw him take out Tara in the bottom lane. He's got the blade done already. Probably Runan's now with that recurve bow. And he's going to get quite strong. Even Chaohu looking good in the mid lane. Morello Nomicon, cooldown boots, and a quick need to see large rod all completed. EDG, they've had their items for a little while. The gold lead's not massive, but they're not picking these spots.
Yeah, the problem is that they've completely missed the power spike. Trinity Force, Iceborne, Gauntlet, you saw that they tried to group up. They got the one turret with it, but it just never rotated into anything else because they lost all tempo of the match when Pawn got caught in the mid lane. Since then, RNG have honestly just dictated the pace. Once again, MLXG looking so much more impressive than Fire Lolly over the other side of the map. And it's just created these huge disparities where with Moore and the jungle item, MLXG can honestly fight anyone on the other team.
Yeah, he's almost a fighter at this point with Graves. So do let the build out there as EDG trying to get some traction here. Pawn and Mako pushing out that mid lane. But again, there's nothing really to fight over. Baron is up, but it's a little risky and too early to take it. They have spotted MLXG, but he's going to get himself out of the way after taking that Scuttle Crab. EDG looking to get vision supremacy over this objective, but going to have to wait it out. In fact, Shalu's gone back. He's bottom lane now with that teleport, able to split push as Lissandra. And Zonya's already completed there as well, so he's ready to fight. If RNG want to fight, they can, but right now they're more than happy to just keep pressuring these side waves.
Yeah, and the thing about RNG's team comp right now is they've got a very good kite back threat and two people in Lissandra and Poppy that are very good at diving the back line. It's almost impossible to peel Lissandra because of how she gets on there quickly with the Claw out of Fog of War, with the Flash Ultimates. And then Poppy, especially if she goes for a 40% cooldown reduction, tank build with the slow from Iceborne Gauntlet, just impossible to peel. So all of a sudden, even though you have two good persistent damage threats in Ezreal and Corki, you have two people that can continually chase through, dish out massive amounts of damage, and there's not really all the same that you can say on the other side. Mundo, very easy to kite. Trundle, the exact same. So EDG need to get a move on in this game.
Well, looks like Baron is the order of the day at this point, but RNG are going to go back in. Make sure they're the ones with vision supremacy. We talk about what Marta brings to teams. The most common thing to bring up is certainly vision, and again, got perfect vision around this Baron. Two pinks there, sort of blocking off the primary chokeholds into the area. Good poke, though, from Pawn. Oh, Deft going straight in with the package, but he gets exhausted, knocked up there as well, and Deft is dead there as Whoosh takes him out. Now Fire Lolly got caught on the other side there. He's going to have to repel away to a minion. Whoosh will flash in to try and finish the killers. Looper fighting into the front line there as well. Mako is quite low. Whoosh will take him out. Shahu flashes in to clean things up as Cora's dead on the left-hand side, and it's just not enough here. Pawn, he'll get chased down. He'll be the last one, and that's the ace for RNG.
And look at how easy they do it. They're just able to persistently chase with the cooldown reduction on Looper. Not enough damage at this stage of the game to deal with them. They'll be able to pick up Baron because of how much damage Wushin does to it. And honestly, this was insane by Deft. He flies in double Valk. Still can't get away. Gets completely smashed. Fire Lolly separated from the team. And this was textbook from RNG, just able to chase and clean up after very sloppy fighting out of EDG.
You can see Fire Lolly going back in for the wraparound, but Looper springs the trap. And poor Pawn, little Ezreal gets locked up there by Xiao, who Nothing to do from there, and there's the Baron as well. The tempo of this game all of a sudden swings very aggressively into RNG's favor.
Yeah, and, you know, even the siege that we talked about out of EDG with the Iceborne Gauntlet, with the double items coming through on Corki, is just gone. Now, all of a sudden, there's Baroned up minions streaming down your lane. You're not going to be able to clear the waves at all because you don't have any straight line wave clear. And it's very hard to call games over at this point just because of how much League of Legends does swing. But as long as RNG execute and push down the waves, this one should be a relatively easy close.
I mean, much like the last game, we saw kind of a similar lead built here in RNG. Fumble a bit to close, but did eventually kind of figure it out and close. Door's certainly been close for EDG to have their primary way into this game, so they're going to have to hope RNG left some windows open again.
Yeah, 100%. They need to be throwing Hail Marys at this point, looking for picks through vision control, because as long as RNG stay in lanes, it's going to be very hard to engage on them with a Baron buff. And last time, the reason it was harder for RNG is because, you know, they had the Quinn, these squishy targets, it was harder to execute. This time, they've got a Poppy Lissandra, just dive the backline. Marta on Alistar, also huge.
You've got good split push threats as well. You can kind of see why the Lissandra ban came out. Koro looking for a big flank teleport. He is going to find Marta first, but they kind of want Xiaohu. He's going to find too many carries, ult himself and do a ton of damage out there. Great Zoni's there as well. Will block off Pawn from finishing him, but he is going to die to Mundo.
Yeah, but meanwhile, top lane, Baron up creeps. Meanwhile, mid lane, they're on the base turrets. Just going to be able to rotate across. And even when EDG make a proactive play, 1 kill, that is all they get. RNG still taking so much off the map.
Xiaohu bought such a great amount of time there. And you can see it's, again, RNG's more than anything map movement that's really impressed me in this series so far. EDG, like you mentioned in Game 1, just getting run around in circles here. And a lot of that's to do with Lupa.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, when you think about it, adding Marta, adding a Lupa, even adding Insec onto a team is going to ensure that they understand when they can and cannot fight and how to move around the map. And MLXG has impressed the heck out of me. This is a guy that all the pressure was on. We mentioned great rookie season. Rookie season done, mate. You have to be able to step up. And right now in this series, he has done that and more.
Yep, 2 different champions as well. Feels like his style's still there. Very aggressive young player. But Lee Sin looking just as sharp as it was last season. And Graves this time around with rapid fire cannon already done. So he's a legitimate damage threat now as well on top of all the work he's done already. And of course, quietly, Whoosh just overachieving as per usual. 3-0-2 with 3 damage items done.
And it's like the reverse tilt. It's so strange. Like, MLXG, he grabs a conventional jungler game 1, has a good performance. Second game, he's like, oh, they didn't ban Graves. They probably think Graves is a bad champion after last performance, you know? Jumps on it, has a stellar performance. Still 70 CS up on his opponent. 3-1-3. 6 out of 10 kills. It's a pretty impressive scoreline for a jungler.
It certainly is, and RNG are now playing to the tune of 7,000 gold ahead. 27 minutes into this one. EDG again, just back condensed into their base, trying to farm out whatever they can, but RNG just staying split up. Looper is getting chased here by Koro. Does Duke the first cleaver, though.
If anyone dies here, it's going to be a very long time.
I mean, Koro's trying, but he's going to have to work quite a long time for this kill. Looper just zigzagging across, and it's going to keep fighting here. I think Koro would have this eventually, but actually Looper going to turn things around. Ulti popped in there as well. Going to move in for the kill. Koro now going to pop his ulti, and this one, like you said, could take a while. The rest of his team, though, is coming around, and Koro knows the rest of them are here. I don't think he can get out. Does flash away there. He's going to buy some time, but EDG, ping in the mid lane, need to get something done here. Koro's bought them a good amount of space.
He'll escape. As I said, that was going to be a fight for the ages, pastry time, if one person was going to win. In the end, EDG get good position around the map, but they might be being collapsed on here from behind. You can see Marta, so many on the way pings. They've even pinged out a ward. Here comes Lupa.
Kind of nothing to take, but they are going to go for the fight. Marta goes straight in for it. Lupa potting back in. Huge ult there from Xiaohu right in the mid, and Def just locked down there by Lupa in the backline. Pawn forced to move away, as well as Fire Lolly going to get taken out by Wooge, and Def just has to flash out. Koro's trying to do what he can, but the carries of EDG are just getting worn down. Lupa going to take out Deft in the backline. He's going to pick up Koro as well, and he's still alive there. Mako going to move in to try and finish it off, but it's an ace for RNG, and Lupa lives.
It's a clean ace for RNG. Lupa lives by the skin of his teeth. But RNG, in this fight, you can see how decisive the movement is. Pings go down, teleport comes in, and honestly, Marta flies into this team fight, isolates Fire Lolly one more time, and this is lights out for EDG. RNG just look unstoppable.
They certainly do. And Looper locking down carries.
Look how annoying Poppy is on the current patch, just with cooldown reduction. So sticky, able to continually CC, smash people into walls. And even the super tank in Mundo just not able to survive that long.
It's funny. Old Poppy was known for living on pretty much pixels of health, and Looper doing a nice job showing that quality off again.
And 11,000 gold now the lead. The team that finished 2 splits in first place, 1 MSI, and probably had the strongest performance at Worlds for the LPL, is not looking fantastic in Game 1 versus RNG. They've just beaten them around the whole map.
Certainly haven't. Best of 3 format proving to be quite too relevant here if RNG do take this one clean 2-0.
Probably wishing for best of 2. Where's my bonus point?
Well, not this time around, but EDG still holding on for a bit longer. I don't know if they can do it for too much longer. Oh, and here's Looper. I don't think Def's going to enjoy this. He does have 3 people here. Maybe Looper's actually going to back away, but he's hidden in that bush from what we can tell.
They probably think he's gone back. Once again, this is just a flank opportunity. The whole team has collapsed.
Yep, Pawn's in the mid lane as well. Koro is bottom, but does have his TP.
They jump over the wall. Here they go.
Very cute from Xiaohu. He's going to get himself caught, though. He's going to have to use the ult. He does pop it on himself, and now Mako realizes what's happening. Looper brings the trap. He is going to go down to Woosh, and the port's going to be right there from Koro. But 1v4, even as Dr. Mundo don't think he fancies this challenge at all. He's going to pop the ulti. Pawn's going to try and do the damage that he can, and now Def will join in. They might be able to turn this around, but RNG just too far ahead at this point. There's the next kill out onto Koro. Frontline is melted, and Looper, no, he will not. Xiaohu's on his in. Very nice play as Woosh. Going to collect kills as they roll into him. And it's going to be another clean ace by the looks of things. MLXG moves in to clean up Pawn. And there it is.
And in the end, it is another clean ace with Looper initiating. RNG just stream into the base. There's already super minions there. They'll pick up the 2-0. And what a performance out of this 10-man roster. They only used 5, but they used them pretty well.
Yeah, pretty good players here. Is going to sweep EDG in their first match of the 2016 season. Mako doing what he can, but it looks like Just Die is going to be that one there. Woosh pads his stats. Looper dives into the fountain. And that's going to be game 2 as RNG sweep EDG out of week 1.
And you know, we came into this saying, is this even RNG's best lineup? Name's on the bench. Will they play Inset? In the end, Woosh and their jungler MLXE both have fantastic performances. Looper looks like he's back. Everything clicking for that team. That was beautiful.
Looper is the man that I look to in that series. 2 great games, 2 distinct champions. And given how poor he played in 2015, and make no mistake, it was not a good-looking 2015 for the man. It's only 2 games, but it feels like Looper's back already. Quinn and Poppy, 2 pretty new champions, and he makes it look easy.
Yeah, and you see EDG, they actually huddle up and have a little bit of a chat after that. Def not looking too happy, actually, with his team. We'll see whether they continue with this Fire Lolly strategy, whether Clear Love will make an appearance again.
I mean, we saw him at the top of the show, so we know he's around. I don't know if he can play, but he is certainly available as far as we can tell.
Well, you know, you could ask the same questions about Fire Lolly right now, Pastry Time, because he seems to be there, but I also don't know whether he has much more play left in him because, honestly, MLXG, that second game, you know, Fire Lolly got caught out game 1, but at least he had a presence on the map. This time around, MLXG just completely erased him from about minute 4.
And that's what MLXG does to junglers. I think, especially Fire Lolly, it's only a few games, you can get to see too many, but MLXG loves punishing weaker junglers, and that's exactly what he did.
And this sums up the series.
Looper. Just getting in there. Doing Looper things.
And in the end, you know, RNG, they were just able to make too much work. Def going over aggressive on this play. Just wasn't great from EDG, and they look like they just missed a trick here somewhere because they weren't on the same page.
No, I mean, Koro, again, a good tank game here. This time, Mundo was Tom Kench, of course, in game number 1. But again, it feels like Koro and Clearlove, that pair that's played together for so long, was certainly absent here in this game. And the 2 Korean carriers this time could not get it done. MLXG starting to celebrate some victories. He had 2 great games.
Yeah, he certainly did. You know, we said he's our player to watch. Another great teleport play coming in here for Looper. And you could see he was just zooming around the map. Looper and MLXG. MLXG, we expected to play well. Looper, we wanted to play well, and both are over in this set.
Certainly did. I actually missed that when I watched it originally, but Looper cruised over a wall with a ward that was there to smash Deft into that. Wanted to go around for the flank because that's what he'd set up, but saw a nice juicy carry to go in instead, and Looper lived somehow. so many times in those last few team fights.
Yeah, it was just fantastic play from the whole of the RNG lineup.
And I agree. Like, EDG, we expect them to show up. They've had such a good run domestically. Not a good start, of course, to their week, but going 0-2 up against Royal to start things off. But I'm sure there's some adjustments to be made.
Yeah, so now what you have to look at from EDG is, like, what adaptations do they make? Because they will really not be happy with that. Getting 2-0'd on opening night of the LPL for a proud club. You got to remember, last time they lost, they came out and apologized publicly to their fans. So expect them to go away, do some soul searching. On the other side of the rift, you know, where does this RNG lineup max out? They've got so much talent in their lineup. You know, we talked about the coaches that they added and being able to perform that well. I just really want to see, like, is this their max? Is that the best we've seen? Or does this team continue to grow? Because, honestly, Game 1, they did some things well with their vision control and then fell away. This time around, their vision control wasn't great early, but MLXG and Looper really stepped up, and it looked very clean.
Well, it's a good start, certainly, as the team only gets stronger. RNG will 2-0 over EDG, but don't go too far away. OMG, you're going to be taking on Vici.